Russia, the empire that never ended. Russia isn't just a country. It's a mindset, the belief that the empire never truly fell. From the frozen fields of Siberia to the streets of Moscow, power is built on control, not cooperation. Since the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, Russia's leaders have carried one obsession: restoring respect through fear. That's why in 2014, tanks rolled into Crimea. In 2022, missiles rained on Kyiv. Every move was a message: we're still here. But underneath that power show, Russia's economy burns slow, built on oil, gas, and propaganda. Sanctions squeeze it, but nationalism keeps it alive. The roots go deep. Centuries of invasions made Russians obsessed with borders. From Napoleon to Hitler, every enemy taught one lesson: the world wants to destroy them. So they push first: Ukraine, Georgia, and beyond, all pawns in an old imperial game. Today, while the world chants peace, Moscow reads it as weakness. And that's what makes it dangerous. Because Russia doesn't need to win wars to win, it just needs everyone else to stay scared. Next, the country that turned isolation into power: North Korea, the kingdom of fear. North Korea is the world's most paranoid fortress, a country locked in time, ruled by one family for 3 generations. Its borders are razor wire, its cities frozen in fake smiles. Kim Jong-un doesn't lead a nation, he controls a cult. Since the Korean War ended in 1953, the regime has survived on one thing: fear. Fear of invasion, fear of betrayal, fear of change. The government feeds the people a story that the world wants to destroy them, and anyone who questions it disappears. But behind the secrecy lies a deadly obsession with nuclear power. In 2006, Pyongyang tested its first nuclear bomb. Every launch since has been a threat disguised as defense. In 2017, missiles capable of reaching the U.S. turned the world's attention and anxiety back toward the Korean peninsula. Millions live in silence, while elites dine on imported wine and imported fear. Sanctions crush the economy, yet the military never starves. Because the regime knows one truth: the bomb keeps them alive. North Korea doesn't fight wars. It blackmails the world with the promise of one, and that promise keeps peace hanging by a thread. Next, a nation that fights without armies. Iran, the quiet power behind the chaos. Iran doesn't shout, it whispers, and the world trembles. Sitting at the heart of the Middle East, its both ancient and defiant Tehran learned long ago that you don't need to invade to control, you just need influence. After the 1979 Islamic Revolution, Iran flipped overnight from Western ally to the West's nightmare. Its new goal: spread its ideology and outlast every enemy. Instead of sending troops, it funds Hezbollah movements in Lebanon, militias in Iraq, the Houthis in Yemen. Each won a chess piece in a long, patient game. When the U.S. Sisi killed General Qasem Soleimani in 2020, the region shook. He was more than a commander. He was Iran's shadow hand across the Middle East. And even his death didn't stop the machine. Iran's nuclear ambitions have always been the world's breaking point. Each negotiation, each broken deal brings the same question: how close are they to the bomb? The answer changes every year, but the threat stays constant. Iran doesn't oppose peace with noise. It does it with patience, turning small fires into permanent wars. Next, the giant that hides behind diplomacy: China, the superpower, playing the long game. China's strategy isn't chaos, it's control. While other nations fight wars with guns, China fights with time. It builds, buys, and binds. The Belt and Road Initiative stretches through Asia, Africa, and Europe, like veins feeding a global empire, all roads leading back to Beijing. After Mao's revolution and decades of economic rise, China learned how to weaponize peace. It doesn't attack directly. It offers partnerships that come with strings: ports, railways, and tech networks, deals that quietly shift power away from the West. But under the surface, there's steel. Taiwan remains on the red line. The Chinese Communist Party has vowed to reunify the island, by force if necessary. Fighter jets cross into Taiwan's air defense zone almost daily, silent warnings that peace is temporary. Inside China, control runs deep. The Great Firewall blocks the outside world. And Xinjiang's re-education camps remind everyone what happens when loyalty wavers. China doesn't want world peace. It wants world order, its own kind. A calm, managed, one-sided version where Beijing decides what peace looks like. Next, the conflict that never stops burning: Israel and Palestine, the endless battlefield. Few places carry more history or heartbreak than the strip of land between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean. Israel and Palestine have been locked in blood and disbelief for over 75 years. Every truce is temporary. Every silence is fragile. It began in 1948 when Israel was founded and hundreds of thousands of Palestinians were displaced. Wars in 1967 and 1973 redrew maps and deepened scars. Generations grew up knowing only checkpoints, rockets, and retaliation. In 2023, the conflict reignited with shocking force. Hamas launched a surprise assault from Gaza. Israel answered with devastating airstrikes. Civilians on both sides paid the price again. The world called for peace, but no one could agree on what peace means anymore. This fight isn't just about borders. It's about identity, religion, and memory, the kind that outlives treaties and presidents. International powers keep picking sides, feeding the tension while pretending to solve it. Here, peace isn't just difficult, it's dangerous to even suggest, because every solution offends someone's history. Next, the country that claims to defend peace but keeps making war on the United States. The United States, the peacekeeper that keeps fighting. The U.S. calls itself a defender of peace, but its history says otherwise. From Vietnam to Iraq to Afghanistan, America's idea of peacekeeping often starts with invasion. Its military budget, over $800 billion a year, is bigger than the next 10 countries combined. After World War II, the U.S. built alliances, bases, and influence everywhere. NATO, the UN, and freedom missions became tools of power wrapped in moral language. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it backfired. In 2003, the Iraq War began with talk of democracy and ended with chaos that still burns. America doesn't just fight enemies, it shapes the battlefield. Sanctions, drone strikes, cyber operations, modern warfare without declarations. And while it promotes global peace talks, it also arms half the planet. The paradox is brutal. Without the US, global order might collapse. With it, wars never truly end, because every peace built on force is just a pause between conflicts. The truth? No country fully stands for peace. They all stand for power, just dressed in different flags.